Raise your hand if you've heard the term, if you try to be everything to everybody, you'll be nothing to no one. So we're gonna get to this in a moment, but first I wanna share a story. In this talk, I'm going to share with you how to be polarizing and infuse your personality into your messaging and copy, and I'm certain that this is gonna be worth well over $250,000 for you.
I've asked Jennifer Hudye to share with us today. If you think she looks a bit young, you are correct. Jennifer recently turned 25 years old. She's also founded and co-founded 4 businesses, one of which sold for 7 figures. 2 years ago, she started her current business and has built a team of 9 where they have worked with over 100 different clients, many of whom you know very well, from strategic coach to Dean Graziosi, Brendan Bouchard, Evan Pagan Training, Sally Hogshead, Bedros Killian, Cameron Harold, and of course, the most influential and best looking person in the room, which is myself. Just kidding. Anyway, please help me welcome, for her very first 10-minute talk, Jennifer Hudye.
First, like I mentioned, a story. This past Monday, this is the guy that Joe mentioned at the beginning that I moved to La Jolla for. Alex, we went on our weekly date night, and on the drive to our date night this past Monday, we got in this really random conversation, and I told him how when I was a young girl, about 5 years old, my favorite food in the entire world was my mom's freshly baked buns with Miracle Whip lathered all over it. And he looked at me and gave me the most disgusted look and said, "That's the grossest thing I've ever heard." And the next day, as I was doing the research for this 10-minute talk, I stumbled upon a Harvard Business Review article called "Make the Most of a Polarizing Brand." And interestingly enough, the whole article was about Miracle Whip. And Miracle Whip did some research, their marketing director, and what they found was that people had a really emotional, heightened response when it came to Miracle Whip. They either loved it or they hated it. And so they decided to play on this and just create a truth-based marketing campaign, and they created it the Love It or Hate It campaign. So they created commercials where in some of them there was women lathering Miracle Whip all over their bodies, and in other commercials there was people saying literally like, "I'd rather lick a shoe than try it," and they just rocked it. And what the marketing director said was, it was obvious that people either love it or hate it, so we just decided to play on it. And what was fascinating was there's a 631% increase in social media from this campaign, and most importantly, 14% increase in sales. So why does this matter to you? Well, the online marketing world right now is changing. And it's always going to be based on the principle of direct response marketing and really showing people that we can help them. But more importantly, we need to infuse our personality into our copy and into our messaging because our clients and our customers are craving that connection. And finally, you need to discover what is going to make you stand out. So in today's message, I'm going to show you how to stand out by being polarizing, by sharing with you a powerful strategy that I actually learned from David Freeman. Now, David Freeman is a Hollywood screenwriter, and he created something called the character diamond. And basically what the character diamond is it's 4 points, and in the creation of movies, he would get really clear of like what makes a character stand out. And if this character doesn't stand out in a unique way, then we literally need to get rid of them. And some of the biggest brands online started using this process, including Miracle Whip, and saw skyrocket returns. So here is the character diamond. There's basically 4 points to it, and you don't have to write this down because I'm going to provide you a worksheet at the end of this to come up with your own. But there's your North Star, your kryptonite, the hill that you're willing to die on, and your quirks. Your North Star is getting really clear in your company or your personal brand what makes you extremely awesome and unique, what makes you stand out. In Dan Sullivan terms, what is your unique ability? Your kryptonite is what is like the shadow part of you or your company that makes you human that you may not want to share. It's almost like the part of you that you try hiding. But interestingly enough, in characters and really relatable and likable brands and humans, if they can't be defeated, then we tend not to like them. If you think of your favorite movies, your favorite superheroes, they have the kryptonite, just like Joe was mentioning earlier today. The next one is the hill that you be prepared to die on. Getting really clear with your company, with your brand, what is the number one value or the non-negotiable that you stand for no matter what, that you would put your flag in the ground for and let everyone know this is what we stand for. And finally, your quirks. What are like the human things that show your personality? These are the 4 points of the character diamond. So I'm going to show you some examples so you can start getting an idea of how this is relevant for you and your business or your personal brand. Who here knows Steve Jobs and Apple? Cool. So his North Star is innovation. If you've watched the movie of his, Jobs, or just infused into Apple, their unique ability is innovation. The hill that they be prepared to die on is simplicity. I know a few of you have heard the story in here where Steve Jobs would go to the janitor at the Apple office and hand him the iPhone and see if he cannot figure this out, then we need to go back to the drawing board, because the number one value they stood for was simplicity. The kryptonite, they force others to adapt. And they don't hide this. If you've ever had an iPhone, they're constantly changing the cords that you put it in, whatever. But what's fascinating about the North Star and the kryptonite is they're actually the exact same thing, just on different ends of the spectrum, but they own it. And the final one, the quirks, is they really stand for being different, thinking different. How about this guy, Joe Polish? I believe Joe's North Star is connection. Who here would agree that, based on him being one of the most connected men on the planet, the hill that he'd be prepared to die on, based on what I've experienced, is compassion. His kryptonite is addiction. Now, most people would try hide this, but Joe has taken such a powerful stand for this, and he just owns it, and as a result, it actually makes him more magnetic than ever. And his quirks is humor. I know that's what him and I connected on when we first met, is we both have like a fine appreciation for a really good dick joke. Or we got bulletproof. And I'm going to use this example of bulletproof as a company as a whole. So their North Star, high performance. The hill that they prepared to die on, what I saw from the website when I checked it out, was being resilient and bulletproof. The kryptonite is, in my opinion, performance over aesthetics. It's like human optimization over everything. And the quirks, Dave uses the term biohacker, but it's kind of geeky. Like, I see people rocking their shoes or their orange glasses, I'm like, that's a biohacker, but they love it, and that's what makes it so polarizing and makes them stand out. Or we got JJ Virgin. I'm gonna give the example of her overarching personal brand. So her North Star, she's resilient as hell, and it's obvious. The hill she's prepared to die on, really being in control of your health. Kryptonite, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to this, is when we're resilient as hell, a lot of times we can never stop. And the quirks, it's like she's the powerhouse mom. She's like the superhero mom. With my company, Conscious Copy, we've been really intentional about this. Our North Star is relationship-based copy. The hill that we be prepared to die on is the truth sells. Our kryptonite is we're not like a Gore. We're not split testing every single little thing in our copy because the relationship is more important to us. And our quirks is we're super awkward. And if you read our messaging, you read our copy, you feel that. That is the personality that stands out. And so if you look at our homepage, you'll see the character within the first couple lines of reading it. So when you come up with your character diamond, in order to really stand out and be extremely polarizing, you need to do everything to make sure that you never want to conflict with this personality, because as soon as you do, it's going to feel out of integrity, and your clients and your customers will start to question if that's really you. And so the power of being polarizing is really being able to attract and repel and infuse your personality into your message in order to stand out. So what's next? Brainstorm these 4 points for your business or your personal brand. And at the next break, just take 2 minutes. There's 4 questions on the handout that I'm going to provide for you, where you can get clear of what your character diamond is in order to stand out and attract and repel.